Hello, this is Charlene, and I want to talk today about eating to break 100, 5 longevity eating tips. Now, you heard me right, 100. I know a lot of times people think when you're 100, you're not going to be able to get around very well, you're not going to be able to be active and take care of yourself. But research shows us that that's not necessarily true. If we take care of ourselves and we eat right and we exercise and we do the things that we need to do, research shows us that we can live to 100 and be active. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people are doing it. And these people tend to live in regions called the blue zones. And these blue zones are cultures that live to be 100 plus. But to qualify for a blue zone, you can't just have a lot of high percentage of people living to 100 plus. You have to have people that are basically free of diseases such as cancer and diabetes and heart disease. So there's factors that, they're not just living to be older, but they're living to be healthy, active lives and free of diseases. So the research, again, it's out there, it's been done, and we're going to talk about, not only in this video, but in some others upcoming, on what's going on in these blue zones and what we need to do to live a healthier life to be 100. So do you want to live to be 100? I do, plus, but I want to be in good health. I want to be able to be active and take care of myself. So some people think, well, if you just eat some kale and some blueberries and some strawberries, that maybe take some omegas, you'll get there. Well, those things may be helpful, but they're not the full answer. I mean, there's way more to the picture than that. Even though it's an easy picture, it's a really simple way of eating. We just go back to eating the way people ate a long time ago. Researchers and Dr. Buettner, Buettner, led this research, and they went around to all these regions where these people live to be 100 plus, and they did a lot of research, and they identified at least 5 blue zones, and we're going to, in future videos, talk about each of the 5 blue zones. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, the bell, so you can check, you'll know when I upload. But I'm going to talk about all of them and some other, kind of keep this topic going a little bit. But these zones are identified in Europe, Latin America, Asia, and even one in the United States called Loma Linda, California. Some people have heard of that. So a lot of people probably have heard of it. But anyway, these are the highest concentrations of centenarians, and Costa Rica is another place in the world. And they found the following out. They took scientists, they took researchers, they took anthropologists, and demographics, and they did a lot of extensive research. And there's a book, and you can order that book. It's a really good book. I'm not making anything off the book, but it is a good book on the blue zones. You can look that up. But they found out these things. These are 5 things that they found out right up front. And then we're going to talk about some of the things they eat. And then in other videos, we're going to break down each of the different regions and talk specifically about what they do in those particular regions. But these people, these centenarians, live to be 100 plus and in good health. They move their bodies a lot. So they're swimming, they're golfing, they're walking, they're doing exercise. You can't just go golf on the weekend and expect to get enough exercise. That's probably not going to do it. And if you're out there drinking certain things and eating certain things, you're probably defeating what little good you had. So, but they move their bodies around a lot. They, maybe dancing, whatever it is you like doing. Their social circles encourage healthy behaviors. Now think about your social circles and the events and things that you go to. How many healthy behaviors are encouraged by your friends and your social circles? Probably not a lot, because most of our gatherings we tend to eat really high carb, high fat laden foods, maybe a lot of meat, a lot of greasy stuff, and chips and cakes and cookies and pies, and that's not necessarily encouraging healthy behavior. That's not to say you can't have a small piece of that once in a while, but that would be once in a while and small. You're going to have to learn to cut that stuff back. Again, this is just what the research shows. This is what I'm going to follow because I want to do this. People are going to live probably longer anyway. It's just a matter of what kind of condition you're going to be in. Are you going to be where you can't take care of yourself and can't get around? Or are you going to be healthy and be able to get around? It's going to be your choice at this point. So they encourage healthy behaviors. So try to find a circle of friends maybe that would help encourage some healthy behaviors. They spend time de-stressing. Now, de-stressing can be relaxation, can be meditations, can be prayers. It's things that would, you've got to let your mind relax. You've got to unwind your mind and just sort of chill out a little bit. And so they spend maybe more time doing that than we do. They're part of communities, and these communities are often some kind of religious community. So they value religious values and beliefs, and oftentimes those things, strengthen people. That, again, that's the people you're around is sort of how you're really going to react and feel, because if you're around encouraging people and people with good morals, then you're probably going to end up being that kind of person too. So religion is part of their communities, and family is of utmost importance in them. Family is of utmost importance in them. So they take care of each other. They spend time with their families, and they have strong family ties. And as people get older, having strong family ties and having people around can be very, very encouraging and uplifting to you. Even though you can get around and take care of yourself, you still need that time with your family. And that could be friends too, if you don't have family that live close by. I would think friends could be included in that, but you need some support systems. So let's look then what specifically, we've got some things there that they do, but let's look specifically at what they eat. Dan Buettner, he was a National Geographic explorer and an author, and like I said, he got these people together. He just decided he wanted to study these regions and find out why these people are living longer than the rest of us and in good health, age 100 plus, and still getting around and swimming and walking and doing the things they want to do. And there's been cultures where people are still working out in the fields at an old age, or they're going up and down stairs and they're not using walkers and canes, and they're able to do these things where so many people we know, when they even get in their 80s and 90s, they're pretty feeble. And you're going to probably get older anyway, because people are living longer. But again, it's what kind of condition do you want to be in? If you let diabetes run your life, or you let heart conditions run your life because you just can't change your eating habits, it's kind of like somebody that has lung cancer but they want to keep smoking, or something like that. It's the same thing. If you've got diabetes and you've got high blood pressure and you've got some heart conditions, diet and exercise, it's been proven over and over again, will make a difference. Now, you've got to listen to your doctors, but they're going to probably tell you to do those things. What you eat, what you choose to put in your mouth, and it is a choice every day, is going to make a difference. So let's look at the books. One of the books, by the way, Dr. Buettner wrote, that's a really good book. He's written a couple, but the one I really like is The Blue Zones Solutions, and he talks about, the specifics. And again, I'm going to go over some summaries of these things in some future posts. What specifically is each region? They're all doing something. They're different cultures, so they're doing things a little bit different. But they have some real common things that they do. And those common things is what we want to look at, because it seems to be working for these people across the board. But this book was designed, The Blue Zone, was designed to help Americans get their eating habits in better shape. We all know our American diet is pretty substandard. We have all the food available to us, but yet we tend to eat the processed, canned, highly salted, highly sugared, greasy, sometimes fried, fatty, meaty kind of foods. Well, those kind of foods are not conducive to good health, and they're certainly not conducive to living to be 100 either. You might eat all that and live to be 100, but what kind of condition is your body in if you do? And that's what you have to kind of look at. And there may be those few exceptions out there, but most people are not the exception. Most people, if you want to eat that way, you're probably going to pay the price with your health. So we got to decide do we want the substandard American diet? Like I said, we have all the food available to us. We have really good food available, but we choose sometimes to eat the worst food. And the best food, and we're going to talk about the diets here, are the cheapest foods, really. So we're going to talk about that. The more expensive stuff you probably need to leave that off. So we have all this available, but we choose sometimes some really bad choices. So we need to pay attention, to what people in the blue zones are doing. I know I certainly want to. And if you want to live and be 100 and be healthy, you do too. So as I look at the research and I find out more, like I said, I'm going to share it more with you. But one of the things he found out was that they don't tend to, these cultures don't eat fatty, greasy foods. They don't even eat a lot of meats. They don't eat a lot of sugar, if any. They get their sugars naturally from food. So here are some things that they do eat. Well, let me tell you where the blue zones are first. They're found in Greece. There's one in Greece. There's one in Japan. Okinawa, as most of you have heard of. Loma Linda, California. Sardinia in Italy, I believe. And then there's one in Costa Rica. So here's some things that are real, that they came up with. They're really simple things that you can do. One of them, tip number one, is stop eating when your stomach is 80% full. 80% full to avoid weight gain. So don't just eat until you're just, oh, I'm so stuffed, I need to take a nap, and I've been that way before myself. You've overeaten at that point. You need to stop when you're 80% full, not only to prevent weight gain, but to prevent overeating, and that can help control obesity. Being obese is not a healthy thing. You want to eat the smallest meal of the day in the late afternoon or the evening. Now that can be difficult when we work and you have kids at home, but try to make that evening meal smaller and somehow make those other meals larger. And if you've got kids and they need that bigger meal, you're just going to have to learn to eat about half of what you normally eat. If you just cut your food back in half, you probably do some good. But if you cut it back in half and you're still eating too much sugar and grease and really too much meat, then we're going to talk about what they eat, because these people don't eat much meat. So if you're going to cut that back in half, that might be helpful, but you're still eating some of the wrong things. You're going to have to change what you eat. Okay, so the smallest meal in the afternoon, evening, and they eat mostly plants, especially beans. All of these cultures rely heavily on beans, and a lot of them rely, well, really beans and potatoes, and especially sweet potatoes and things of that sort. Zucchinis and squashes and corns, just basic food. When I was growing up, that's the kind of food we had. We had beans and potatoes and corn, and I mean, we did have meat. And these people, if they eat meat, they eat 3 to 4 ounce portion, which is a really small portion. It's going to fit in my hand's small. A 4 ounce portion might fit in the palm of my hand. If you've got a big hand, that's probably too much. And they only eat this meat 4 to 5 times a month, people. 4 to 5 times a month. So they're not eating meat very often. And some of them just don't even eat that much. So they're mainly plant-based eaters. They eat beans and corn and potatoes and things like that. And so, I mean, I'm just telling you what the Blue Zones do. That's what they do. They drink alcohol just in moderation. They're not out there guzzling down 3 or 4 beers after work. The book also features top longevity foods from the Blue Zones, and some of them are very interesting, and I'm going to talk about those, like I said, in future videos. I'm going to talk specifically about what Greece does along the Mediterranean Sea and what they're doing to promote a healthy lifestyle. And then I'm going to move on to Japan, Okinawa, and what they're doing. And then I'm going to move on to Italy, and I'm going to talk about what they're doing in the beautiful island in the middle of the Mediterranean. And then Loma Linda, California, and what they're doing right here in the good old USA. You can be healthy in the United States. Loma Linda has proven that. So you can be. People say, well, you can't. Yeah, you can. We got all the food available to us in the world. Just buy those cheaper foods. You could buy some sweet potatoes. They're awesome. You can bake them. You can steam them. They're awesome for you. Just leave that. You got to leave the butter and the sugar. And I use a little stevia on mine. And in fact, I use a little vegan butter, actually. But it's just a tiny little bitty dab. I mean, you don't need this big old hunk and gob of butter, because that's what's going to ruin it for you. You know, salt and pepper, and just, if you got to have some butter or vegan butter, then it's the tiniest little bit, and just kind of spread it out and make it work. You got to leave that fattening stuff off. That's not good for you. And even olive oil is still a processed oil, and I know they eat that on the Mediterranean diet, but you need to watch how much that you eat. They're not frying a bunch of food in it, and they're not just daubling the wool all over the place like some people do. It's very, very small amounts of these things that they're doing. So these people are living to be 100, and we can too, but it's going to be a choice, and you're going to have to make healthy decisions now. You know, when you're 30, you don't think much about living to 100. You think, well, wow, if I live that long, I don't know if I want to live that long. I've heard people say that. Well, if you're not in good health and you can't get around, can't take care of yourself, that might be true. But when you get 40, 50, 60, you start realizing that living to be 100 is not only possible, but you can get around, you can be healthy, you can do the things you want to do. There are even foods, you know, that will help protect your eyes and help protect your brain. I mean, there's a lot of research done, and we're lucky to live in the time that we do because the research has been done. It's ongoing, but there's so much research accumulated. And those foods that you need to eat are readily available, and they're often the very inexpensive things that you can eat. So they're really, really healthy, and they're really, really good. So those are the things we're going to focus on in future videos. And I hope you check back with us and follow me and like this page. If you're on the fan page, you can like my fan page, Shirley's Healthy Living. On YouTube, subscribe to YouTube and click the bell so you can get notifications. I will be doing more of these. I do talk about health and wellness and weight loss and things like that too. So I'm actually on a weight loss journey myself, and so you can follow me on Facebook. I would love to have you on my Facebook, and I hope you really have a blessed day. Thank you.